You know that feeling, right? You get a big idea for an app, a new business, and it starts with this little spark. But then your notebook just explodes with 100 different features, and every single one feels absolutely essential. The excitement is amazing, but so is the overwhelm. And it all boils down to one massive question. What on earth do you actually build first?
Yeah, that feeling right there, that's classic founder's paralysis. You could even call it feature bloat. When you're just staring at a mountain of possibilities, trying to build everything at once is probably the fastest way to build, well, nothing at all. So how do you cut through all that noise? How do you find the actual starting point for your minimum viable product, your MVP? That's exactly what we're going to break down.
Okay, so the journey from total chaos to some kind of clarity begins with one simple but really powerful move. You've got to do the first big sort. You need to take that endless, messy list and just split it into two very distinct, manageable categories.
Ultimately, this whole thing boils down to two simple lists. On one side, you have your must-haves. These are the non-negotiables, the features that are the absolute heart of your product. And on the other side, the nice-to-haves. Look, these are probably fantastic ideas, but they belong to the future. They're what you're going to tackle after you've launched and proven your core idea works. The key here, and I can't stress this enough, is you have to be absolutely ruthless.
So what really makes a feature a must-have? Well, to figure this out, every single item on your list has to pass a three-part test. First, is it absolutely critical to solving the one core problem? If your product just can't do its main job without it, it's a must-have. Second, is it essential for basic usability? Can a user even complete the main task without this feature? And third, does it meet the bare minimum expectation of your users? If they show up on day one and this feature is missing, will they just immediately leave? That's your test.
So, you've survived the first sort and you've got this beautiful, short list of must-haves. But the work isn't over, not even close. In fact, maybe the hardest part is next. You have to justify each and every one of them. See, it's not enough to feel like a feature is important. You need to prove it. And this is where we bring in the why test.
And here's a really simple, powerful framework for that justification. For every single feature on your core list, you have to be able to answer three things. 1. What is it? Simple. 2. What specific customer pain point does it actually solve? And 3. Why is it so critical that it has to be there for the very first launch? This whole process forces you to shift your thinking. You stop thinking about what you're building and start focusing on why you're building it. And if you can't answer these three things clearly, that feature probably isn't a must-have after all.
Okay, so your plan is looking great on paper. You've sorted your features, you've justified your core list with real customer value, but now it is time for the reality check. Can you actually build it? This is where we have to get brutally honest about the resources we actually have. This right here, this is your moment of truth. You have to take every core feature and map the real-world requirements right next to it. Time, cost, people, and technology. And let me tell you, seeing it all laid out like this can be incredibly sobering. A feature might have passed the Y test with flying colors, but it might be completely impossible with your current resources. This is where you make those tough cuts, or maybe, even more importantly, you find a way to simplify your approach.
But you've got to remember, launching your MVP isn't the finish line, it's the starting gun. The entire point of building this lean-focused product is to finally get it into the hands of real users and just start a conversation. It's time to close the loop with some real customer validation. And look, validation isn't about asking people if they like your product. That's just fishing for compliments, you know? It's a structured test of a core hypothesis. Do our must-have features actually meet real customer needs and solve the problem we think they have? The answers you get right here will pretty much dictate the entire future of your product. And to do this effectively, you need two things in place before you even think about launching. First, a clear system for collecting feedback. Is it going to be surveys, interviews, analytics? What's the plan? And second, you need defined metrics for success. How will you know if a feature is actually working? Is it user engagement, completion rates, something else? Without these, you're just collecting noise, not useful data.
And all of this brings us back to the one question that should guide this entire process. You should be asking this at every single stage, from that chaotic initial brainstorm all the way to the final pre-launch decision. This question isn't just about building a product, it's about building the right product and doing it efficiently. It's the absolute key to turning that huge, overwhelming idea into a focused, validated, and hopefully a successful reality.